All right, we are live to Facebook and YouTube channel. This is Cameron Williams with us today. He talks a lot about and works with agency owners and specific to tax and accounting. Is that right, Cameron?
Yeah, so basically CFO services and consulting for marketing agencies. We want to help you to live that dream life you're working so hard to achieve.
Great. Well, I'm excited to have him on today. He's got a little presentation for us. So I can't wait to hear more, and I hope you all get a lot of value out of it. I know I'm excited about it.
All right, we ready?
We are. Let's do this.
All right, first off, I'm sorry. I don't normally sound like this, but don't let your kids catch the flu and cough in your face. It's not a good combo.
It's the truth.
All right, so I'm gonna let Jenna be your point of reference. I'm gonna try not to read any comments or anything, so she's more than welcome to jump in, stop me, ask any questions. But we just wanted to come and give you guys some good value, especially as we're starting out the beginning of the year and finishing last year. I think this is a great point to kind of re-educate ourselves, get some new information, so that way we can move into 2024, all gas, no brakes, right? So with that being said, today we're going to talk about beyond revenue. We want you to think beyond revenue, profits, your playbooks, and what does a perfect day for you look like. All right. So just a little bit about me. This is my family. And I was just like everybody else, right? I was a business owner. I could pay the bills. This was a few years ago, and my business was gaining some momentum, but you know how it is. You're just like, man, it's not sticking. It's something still not there. I had this one huge client. They were paying me a ton of money, and I was thankful, but I knew I could do more and I could do better. I knew this just couldn't be the end of the story. And in all honesty, I was winging it. I was like, I think I know how to get some clients, but I couldn't show you anything predictable. I was driving all over Atlanta. And if you guys know Atlanta, it's very big because, networking is key, right? But to make matters worse, now I'm not spending as much time with the wife. We just had the second kid who is now 6. But you know how it is, y'all. She's like, oh, let's watch that show. And you like, I gotta work, or just give me, a few more minutes. Let me wrap this up. And they give you that face like, in other words, we not watching that show. So, I knew something. It just wasn't working. I knew I had to change something. I didn't want to just continue what I was doing at my previous job. I didn't want to work 12-hour days. And there was a time when I bragged about that. Shout out to Gary V. But I knew I was supposed to be spending time with the family. I was missing milestones. And so then I had to figure it out. I needed a plan. I needed to partner with other people who have been there before. So I made this huge investment that I made at that time and invested in this program, and it launched me forward. But it was the people in that program that helped me and became my circle, my mentors, who you see right here, and my accountability. So now, 5 years later, after bumping my head and over Lord knows how many thousands, tens of thousands of dollars that I paid, I'm better able to help marketing agencies skip those same issues that I had. Again, my name is Cameron Williams, and I believe that strategic financial growth can help you live the life you always imagined and want. So for the next, I guess we'll say about 20, 25 minutes, I'm going to give you guys 3 things that can take your agency further and help you experience the life you've always dreamed of having. Now, I don't know. Now, when we say live, can they comment? Can they drop comments?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Let's jump into it. All right, first thing we want to talk about, everybody's type clarity for me. Clarity. Now, why is this super important for you as a business owner? Now, I like to define things so that we're all on the same page. So clarity, that's the quality of being easy to see or hear, and sharpness of image or sound. Now, we need to get clear on where you are personally and financially. Now, why do most agencies struggle? Sometimes people ask me this question because we deal with a lot of them. And I would tell you that it's from a lack of direction and clarity. You should have a set of personal goals and a set of business goals. Now, what is an example of a business goal? Because some people are like, well, goals are goals. It doesn't matter. It does. So some examples of some business goals. I want to make $1 million. I want to make 100K a month. Or some people are like, let me just get to my first 25K or 50K a month. I want to have a certain profit margin. I want to hire X amount of people. I want to remove myself from the day to day. I want to scale bigger clients, more publicity for the business. But remember, I said you also need personal goals. That's looking like, and this is just what our clients have told us over the years. I want to spend more time with my family. I want to get healthy. I need to change my diet, get better boundaries, more traveling, being generous, a higher salary. Don't we all want that, right? Mastering a new skill. So yes, these are all super important, but guess where the magic is? It's in the inputs, right? And these are what we're going to define as the daily actions that drive results. So why is that important? Because that's the only thing you can control. I don't know about y'all, but there have been plenty of times where I get bent out of shape about stuff that I can't control anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with our clients and even myself, that's where we've seen the greatest impact on reaching some of those goals that we just mentioned. So in our company, we call it your dream life, right? Why? Because if you do these inputs, you are more likely to reach your goals, which means you are legit living the life that you dream about. Like, let's be real. You didn't start your agency to sit there and just be at the computer all day doing ad spend and managing budgets and SE. That's not what you did this for. You did that so you can spend that time with your family or travel or be able to move closer to your grandma or whatever that looks like. So let's see what this looks like. Now let's do an example. Now, of course, most of my marketing agency clients, they're big dreamers. So let's just go for it. I want to make 100K a month. I know for some people they're like, oh man, Cam, I'm just getting started. If I can just get to 5, we're good, or 10. And then I know some people are like, hey, I got big dreams. I'm at 25. Let's do it. How we do that? This is just, you can swap these numbers out, but I just want you guys to follow the concept with me. All right. So, what would be the input to get to $100,000 per month? All right, we need to look at things like number of calls, your closing rate. What is a client worth to you? All right, now I'm the numbers guy. Remember, I told you CFO for multiple companies. So let's put some numbers to it. All right, let's look at this. So we want to get to 100,000, and let's just say right now our current MRR is at 45. And you tell me, hey, Cameron, I'm getting 5 calls a month. My closing rate is at 40%. And when we sign up a client, they're going to be $2,500 a month because that's the only package we offer. They either take it or leave it. All right, cool. We got great data. Now, before we go any further, if you're like, I didn't even know I needed to track that. Now we know we need to track this. This is super important. Let's keep moving. All right. So if we use this math, if I have a 40% closing rate, that means for every 5 calls, I'm going to close 2. If I close 2 people, then that means I'm going to 2 times 2,500 gets us to the 5K. All right. So this is what it would look like if you were to close 2 clients a month. This tells you as long as you stay consistent, where are you going to end up? Oh man, by December, I'm going to be at that 100K goal. Now, hopefully this makes sense. Now, again, you may need to swap the numbers out. If it was, I want to get to 20K, you can do these same things. You may say, I want to get to 20K and I'm at 5. Okay, then there's that math. Maybe you say, Cameron, I only close 20% of my calls. Okay, then you adjust that number. But this is a glimpse of how we can control inputs and then get to our goals. Now, to give you another example, let's look at 2 different clients. So we have client A, they were making money, but they didn't really have a plan for growth. They would give ideas and they were pretty receptive, but they didn't really implement anything. And by default, their business didn't really grow. Then there's client B. They came in hungry with an objective. They came in asking us, I need you to pick apart my business so we can get where we need to be. And they had long-term goals so that they knew how to reverse engineer. They just didn't understand how the money fit into it. Now, they say all this, or I say all this to say, do you see the difference? The one that is growing, aka client B, was very clear-minded. They had clarity on where do I want to be. Client A, they meant well. They knew they wanted to do better, but there was no implementation. They didn't come in ready to expand their mind and try different things. So I know that everyone is telling you guys that accounting doesn't matter. Just get you a cheap bookkeeper out the Philippines, or pay $100 a month at 1-800 bookkeeper or something like that. And that your financials don't really matter. But I'm telling you that almost every answer to those business and personal goals is found there. I'm just saying. All right, number 2. Everybody say forecast. Type that in the chat. Forecast. Now, I know y'all like, okay, Cameron, I see what you mean. That makes sense. Okay, we need some type of direction so we know where to aim our energy. But it can't be that easy because, I have goals. I got them written on my vision board or whatever, right? Okay, there may be another component to it that we do have to consider, because it's not good enough to just have goals and inputs, but we need to be able to look in the future, be proactive, and run different scenarios so we can be prepared for anything. I don't know about you guys, but how many of you have thought you were killing it? You had your best year ever, and then you weren't prepared for that big tax check that you had to pay. How many of you have set up this huge company, right? You think you have all the infrastructure, but then you can't fulfill it. How many of you have said yes to a couple of jobs and you're like, oh, this is going to be awesome, but I don't have the team in place to really manage it and do it right? This is why we got to look in the future. So now let's see what this looks like. All right, so we got another example. So before, a client was super organized, but they're stressing out. They knew their numbers, but they didn't have financials to really prove it. They knew that they needed guidance, but they didn't really know, who do I call? Who do I partner with? So then we come on board, and I don't even remember how they found us, probably on Facebook, which is where most of our people do find us for whatever reason. So shout out to Facebook for helping us make some money. So what we did, now I want y'all to pay attention to this. I'm going to break this down. Don't jump ahead. Don't try to scan ahead like I always do. Just follow with me. I'm going to break this down. All right. So we took this same client and said, okay, everything to, can you see my mouse? Yes. Okay, so everything to the left of the red line is what we would call actuals, AKA this has already happened in like real world time. Everything to the right was what we projected out and budgeted. We used so many different things that they gave us or told us to be able to say, hey, by the end of the year, we think you'll hit this number, over $1 million. Hey, we know by each service offering that you have how profitable each one is, or what makes up the most percentage of your revenue. We can tell them at any point, like, hey, this is how much you spend paying your team. So you don't have to guess, oh man, am I going to make payroll? I don't know how much I'm going to spend. Yes, you do, because we've already projected it. You can't get taken by surprise. You already know, hey, I need to put 24 grand to the side, for example. Or they may know they're going to hire somebody, so maybe that's why the number. You see what I mean about looking forward? Now I'm not surprised at how much I need to set to the side. I'm not surprised at payroll and all of these different things, because I'm already looking forward. So why is this key to your business? This is key because it allows us to plan properly. It allows us to make adjustments along the way. They may say, hey, Cameron, we plan on bringing somebody in Q4. Well, I can just as easily come over here to Q4, and maybe instead of 11,000, now this needs to be 14,000. But then everything else changes, and now we know, okay, we need to add an extra 3 down here. This is the new numbers. We can predict cash flow, as many of you know. Just because this is how much money you make, that does not mean that's how much money is going to end up in your bank account. I know that's a big favorite. Cameron, why is what I made not equal how much is in my bank account? It doesn't make sense, because we're not tracking this. We're not looking forward. We have things that are catching us off guard because we just don't have a plan in place. This allows us to plan for taxes. Let's pretend that this was your gross revenue And let's just say, for example, this is how much you're going to get taxed on. Well, my people knew this in June that they were owed on $238,000. So now we can start setting up a plan for taxes and savings and a rainy day fund because we don't have to do any guesswork. The numbers are here. They keep changing every month, so we're going to be accurate. And this helps us, of course, to be proactive and not reactive. Now, a lot of people say, well, Cameron, I can just, yeah, okay, we can do this whenever. There's really only a small window of opportunity to do this. So just make sure that you don't let this just fly over your head. It's nothing worse than getting to right now going into tax season and you're owing way more in taxes than you thought, all because like, oh, I wouldn't have known to do this or think that far in ahead. Now you know. So this is the perfect time to start. I tell every agency owner I know, this is the month of January. You should be talking to your CFO or accountant before the end of this month is over to review everything from 2023, sign off on it, okay, and make sure nothing is missing so that you get the best tax benefit. If you don't have one of those, that's a whole different story. Jenna's gonna help you out. We'll give her some extra source or resources or something, but you got to make sure this is right. People talk about all these fancy tax strategies. You're looking at the biggest and most successful one is this right here. All right. Now let's keep going. Now we're on point number 3. Now everybody knows this movie. I don't know about you guys, but I was a huge Transformers kid growing up. So of course, when these movies came out, I was like, let's go. Now, as you see, evolve. That's point number 3. So everybody type evolve. I want to make sure you're keeping up with us. Now, Cameron, how can this be important? Now, you told me I need goals. You told me I need to project and look forward and be forward thinking. Why would I need to evolve? I'm so glad y'all asked. Y'all are paying such great attention. Your situation in one season doesn't dictate the next one. I know on our side, right, you always need a partner and a team around you that's always looking forward and advocating for you, not just a historian. You don't want just a tax person, for example, that only comes in once a year, doesn't really know your situation and think they're going to help you save a ton of money. You wouldn't want a financial advisor who doesn't know anything about your goals and just prescribes. You wouldn't want a doctor that didn't ask you nothing about your past ailments to just say, oh, I think you need some heart medicine. Bro, you don't even know. You didn't ask me nothing. We don't want that for you, right?
Right.
So, excuse me. So let's talk about the first thing we want to evolve is your pricing. So I'm going to put these up here while I talk through it. So we had a client where when he came in, he was doing all right, maybe right at about $20,000 a month, right? Sounds familiar, right? So he says, Cam, I got 3 kids. I don't know if this is going to work. And so I said, okay, let's talk through some of his goals. What did he want to do? So what we were able to do was change his pricing model. And he ended up around 45 or 50 grand after only being with us for about 5 to 6 months. I say that to say a lot of times where we start is definitely not where we are currently. So we have to think, is my current pricing still lining up with these goals we talked about? At the beginning, it may have been, let me use myself. I just want to pay my bills, Lord. Please help me, help me, help me. Versus now, I clearly can pay my bills, but I have different sets of goals. So my pricing should increase. Is your pricing sustainable over the next 3 to 5 years? Maybe 5 years ago, you could charge $500 a month. Maybe now it needs to be $1,000 because we have bigger goals. We offer a better service. Does it actually give value? If we're just doing the pure basics, can you charge a high price for that? You could, but I would challenge you to think, is what I'm doing providing value? Because that's what people will always pay you for. They will pay you a premium. Oh, let's use this. I'm in Atlanta. People go to Chick-fil-A because I know I'm getting great service. I'm willing to pay extra and not go to McDonald's where the ice cream machine never works ever in history. But if I go to Chick-fil-A, man, they gonna act like they so happy to see me. They gonna call me by my name. They gonna say, we so happy to see you. We can't wait. That's value. And there's a straight commodity. You can go to McDonald's and buy whatever, or you go to Chick-fil-A and get that premium experience. So let's go to the next one. Business model. This is a good one. Now, do you want to be solo? Do you want a bigger team? I'm gonna just put all these up here. All right, again, let me talk about myself. So when I first started, because of I worked at a CPA firm, the owner had like his daughter working for him, his sister-in-law, everybody knew everybody. And I'm like, man, this is what I want. This is a family atmosphere. I want us all in one big old place, like one big happy family. Well, 5.5 years later, my team is virtual, right? We don't have the 8 or 9 people. We're only a team of 3. So my vision has changed for how I want to run the company. So just because in year 1 you were doing it one way, that doesn't mean that's the same thing that you have to hold on to. And you have to evolve the company and the idea in your brain to be able to accommodate that. Again, is this sustainable for yourself? If you want to be solo, that's fine, but understand you're only going to have so much capacity. If you don't work, then the company makes no money. So yes, you can make $20,000 a month if you keep it all to yourself. But maybe if you hire 2 or 3 more people, maybe you get to the 40 or the 50 or the 60. Maybe you can take that vacation that you haven't been able to get, that you thought you would take plenty of because you're running your own business. This is what I mean about evolving your business model, because this is what's going to help you continue to grow your business. Let's do another one. Your service offering. So we saw in that example when I was breaking down the forecasting how you guys have typically 2 to 4 or 5 offerings, right? Now, what you need to know is, and I made a Facebook post about this today actually, which one is the most profitable versus which one is your passion or the one you like doing the most? Because those can be 2 different answers, right? For example, I like doing high level CFO consulting, but that's not my most profitable offer, but it's the one I enjoy doing the most. As long as you are aware of that, then you put yourself miles ahead, because now you know I need to put my majority of my time into selling offer C, but I really love doing offer A. So there just needs to be some balance there, some understanding, even in regards to the team and how you serve. Do you know your top 3 services? Do you know your top 3 expenses? Do we need to add some services? There are services that we're doing now that 5.5 years ago when we started, we weren't doing CFO. We weren't doing payroll. We weren't doing entity analysis to tell you, should you be an S Corp or an LLC? We didn't. We were doing this. Hey, just so you know, these are office supplies. You don't need me for that anymore. Y'all are too smart. That's basic now. So we elevated and we evolved with our niche over time. You need to do the same thing, and that'll tie back into that value that you offer and bring. Trust me, you need to have these conversations with your team. This is a whole can of worms. So I'm just going to drop this really short. Your business entity, what you were at the beginning, you may not need to be anymore. You may have started off as an LLC. This may be year 3, 4, 5 for you. It may be time to be an S corp. I don't know. Get your accountant, your CFO to run the numbers. Don't just let them guess. Let them present you with numerical data. You may say, hey, I found somebody and we're super cool and I think we can rock it. Well, you may need to be a partnership. What does that do for your taxes, though? How is that going to affect you and how much money you owe the IRS? You need to be very clear on that before you say yes. Is that where you want to go? Or do we just want to be preferred vendors? Like, we're going to basically do the same thing, but I'm going to keep my own individual stuff and you just going to be the person we always refer to. That's a conversation you need to have. And I will tease you with the S Corp thing, just because I said it, that this is an analysis we did for a client. And right here, you see they will actually spend more money being an S corp than they would if they were LLC. Or said differently, an S corp not going to save them money. So I'm just saying this is what you need to be expecting from your accountant or CFO if you ask them what you should do, because everybody's situation is different. There's no percentage rule or nothing like that. Last thing, your goals. Are my goals attainable? Are they realistic? Do they truly help me get to that dream life we've been talking about? Is getting to that $1 million goal you have, is that realistic with your current team? Do you even need $1 million to really live the life that you want to live? Because I'm here to tell you, after talking to a bunch of agencies, $1 million is not what they crack it up to be. That's a whole different new set of problems once you get there. So just think about these. Are my goals realistic? Can I get to them now? Do I need to build into those? Do I have the right team and capacity to be able to do that? And then, of course, your team. I mean, we kind of hinted at this. Do you want an all-in office team, a virtual team? Because one is going to cost more than the other. Can you be replaced? Can you take time off the business and it still functions without you? Again, I know you want the vacation, but if you're a one-man person, I mean, a one-stop shop, like we don't work, okay, you're just not getting paid. That's how it goes. So,
Mhm.
with all that being said, we're going to wrap this up. This is why it's so important to allow yourself to evolve, because all these things change and they affect your cash, your money, your revenue, your take home pay, your salaries. Like, we don't want to just not pay ourselves. Your ability to scale, taxes, some of everything. So hopefully this all makes sense, and it registers why it's important to reevaluate every single year constantly. All
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
Now, one of the most common questions I get, Cameron, can you help us do this? Can you help me save more money? Clearly, we can. We're going to give you guys, here's a link. So Jenna's going to get this so that way we can link it to her. This is just our Grow Your Income call. We wanted to do this just for her listeners and her community. This is basically a call where we get on the phone, assess your situation, so we can ID some of those opportunities we talked about. What this does is give you things to take away and attack that are stopping you from getting where you want to be. And what that means is that you'll leave with something tangible that'll improve your cash flow or finances. So we'll give this link to her. She's going to be the only one who has it. So that way I will know that you came from her and we can make sure we take care of you. The next step is to, oh, you know what? Actually, we got an ebook that we literally just created. And I think y'all gonna be the first people to get it. So if it's okay with Jenna, we'll get her that link. She can get that out to you. So make sure you drop in the comments if you want it. Just put ebook and we'll get it to you. No charge, only because it's her. All right. So there's that. Now let's wrap this up. Now let's picture this. Picture a day where your money is moving like clockwork on your behalf and it's actually doing what you think it's supposed to do. Picture a day where you and your partner are sitting together and you're like, wow, could you have ever imagined we would be living like this? Picture a day where you wake up with that feeling, knowing that the business can thrive without you working 50 hours a day, and you can actually enjoy your family and the things you care about. So whether you've done your accounting and finances on your own, whether you have an accountant that you aren't satisfied with, or whether you have your numbers down, but you know there is more you could be doing with this data, partnering with the right person, somebody like us or somebody like Jenna, will change the trajectory of not only your business, but your personal and family life as well. This should be you. Now, let's wrap this up with a story. So I told y'all I got kids, right? So you all know, well, this is the crew. They're all bigger and older now, of course. So as a dad, there are some things you got to do. And I think I'm pretty handy, but I had to put together a baby crib. So, I'm up here wearing my thumb out. This was for the one who's the oldest now, and I'm wearing my thumb out. It gets done. And my wife is up here cracking jokes on me, y'all. She's making that face like, you sure it's stable? Because, it's looking a little wobbly. And I'm like, yeah, I did it. Of course, I built it. It's going to work out fine. But over time, it starts leaning and a rail leans out all before she turns 3. So when we get to the baby boy who's about to be 2, she's like, hey, I know you. We're going to pay extra for someone else to assemble this because A, you're too busy focusing on the business. B, I don't know when you're going to even try to get to it. And C, I don't want my baby on the floor. So of course, what did I do? I paid it, and the guy came in 45 minutes. He knocked it out. Not only was it a great experience, but he got it done perfectly, just like the picture. And I know to y'all that's funny, but that's important because who you choose to partner with, your business, is your baby. That's why it's important to partner with someone who does this all the time so they can give you time back to do what you want to do. That's why it's important to partner with someone who makes you feel confident that the job is done right. And that's why it's important to partner with someone who wants the same exact result as you. So if you're in this group, you're already connected with that right partner. This partner will connect you to other partners that will help you get to where you need to go. That is why it's important. So thank you guys for your time. Let's open it up for questions. However much we got, whatever you guys want to ask, let's jump into it.
I love it, Cameron. That was great. I love the story at the end. And if I could just say one more thing to that, I think that's been a big valuable thing for me to learn over the last couple years. As a mom, I have 3 young kids as well. Mine are younger. I have three and under. So one thing that's been a big learning curve for me is to learn how to leverage your time. So, and you kind of talked about that a little bit, but if I could expound on that, with 2 things. One, as a mom, like, and I mean, same thing for dads, but you talked about it with the crib, and like I can talk about it with the house. You know, there's things that I could spend my time on, like cleaning the house or prepping meals, that I can outsource to save my time. Um, or laundry or what have you. You know, like they have Kroger can like deliver meals to my house now, or all the groceries. So leveraging your time like that, and so you can like spend more time serving your clients and then also serving your family is so important, because it's like at the end of the day, the reason you have your business is to serve your family and to serve the clients. And so I think it's really important that you highlighted on that, and it's something I've definitely learned over the last couple of years. Like, um, time is the one thing that you never can get back, and so leveraging that is so important. And so I'm so glad you highlighted on that. If there's like one thing that I could go back on the slideshow on, you mentioned S Corp one, you know, on the slideshow there.
Let's go back.
And you mentioned, and maybe I just heard you wrong. You said
All right, here we go. This one.
it did or doesn't matter at the end of the day. I think it was this slide. Did you mean that leveraging S Corp can help you save money? Is that what you meant?
Or it can, or it may not. It
Okay,
depends.
I didn't know if I heard you wrong.
Nope, you're correct. Because, so for example, for this client, he wanted to do it. I said, let me run it. He says, okay. In this example, he would actually spend $6,500 more in money leaving his bank account if he were an S corp.
Oh,
So
okay.
therefore, we told him don't do it. Now,
Okay.
the same client came back in 2023. We reran the numbers, and it was worth it. So then we
Wow.
told him to do it. So this is why I said you guys got to evolve. What may not work in one season is going. I think we're going to end up saving him like 45 or 55 grand this
Wow.
go round. But the year before, we would have lost the money. So
Right.
that's why it's important, especially when we're talking numbers. You should be talking to your finance team and getting them to, hey, I need these updates. Incorporate it with your goals. So that way, when you ask these questions, it's not an emotional decision. I'm just showing you what the numbers say.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And if we could highlight one more thing, I think KPIs are so important. And I don't talk about financial stuff because it's not my area of expertise, but and that's why I've, for my own business and my husband's businesses, and also that I recommend to other agencies, why high level is so important. Taking the data for and I worked with a lot of service home contractors, so service type businesses. And so if you can run KPIs for your business, you're not running by emotion, just like Cameron talked about. It's like, where are your leads coming from? Where's your marketing money being spent? And it ties into everything that Cameron's talking about. So, and that's why I love high level so much. You know, tracking those KPIs and everything and tying it all together. And then you can incorporate some of that into like what you're doing financially. And it makes it so powerful. But I love that we talked about some of these KPIs because if you're running the two together, it's so important.
That's right.
Yeah.
She said, I told y'all already in a good group. So.
Well, thanks, Cameron. I loved having you on today, and I can't wait to see this ebook that you put together.
Yes, we'll get that to you.
I'm looking more into it more and more these days.
Yeah, so we'll get that to you. It's 7. We call it marketing meltdowns. It's just some of the most common things that we've seen agency owners struggle with. So we just talk about them in relation to what they are, how they can mess up your money, how can we safeguard ourselves so that they don't mess up your money. So we'll get that to you so you can distribute it for us.
How did you get into the marketing? Like, why marketing agencies for you?
That's a great question. My mentor said it. I was originally trying to work with recruiting agencies and it just wasn't clicking. Yeah. So I went to her and I was like, man, what should I pick? And she was like, you need to pick something that's in line with your personality. I'm like, well, which one is that? And she said, agency. She said, they're typically willing to learn, great energy. She said, I just think you can do it. And if not, try for 6 months. It ain't like you're married to them. But we just jumped all in. So now we go to the same conferences. We're in the same masterminds. And it's just been a great change for us.
Well, that's great. That's awesome. I loved hearing your backstory too.
Yeah, those kids in that crib.
Well, thanks for coming and joining us today, Cameron. And if people want to find out more about you, where should they go?
All right, easiest way to just connect, because maybe say you may have like a one question. You can just message me on Facebook, full name. If you want to check out our website, you just go to kinleyconsulting.com, and that's KYNLI consulting.com. And then, of course, we're on social media everywhere. Either it's Kinley Consulting. You can find us on LinkedIn. So just the normal stuff. But yeah, the fastest way that'll probably get you a response, hit us up on Facebook.
Sounds great. Well, thanks again for coming on today. We'll end the live stream here.